Hi, and welcome to the Access Direct Opening Bell, your essential pre-market podcast. In just minutes, get key global updates, overnight trends, and market-moving factors that set the tone for the day. Whether you're a seasoned trader or just someone tracking the markets, this is your go-to briefing to stay ahead at all times. So let's dive straight in. Good morning on a Monday, and we will start with US stocks, which closed higher on Friday, with the S&P 500 gaining 0.5% at 6,664 and the Nasdaq 100 rising 0.7%. Still, despite stocks continuing their climb, bears outnumbered bulls for the 7th straight week, as per a closely tracked survey of individual investors. In related markets, the VIX ended 1.6% down at 15.5, while the dollar index and the 10-year treasury yield rose for a third day. Gold jumped 1.1% as traders bet on 2 more rate cuts from the Fed before year end, while oil slipped a similar amount as President Trump doubled down on his calls for Europe to stop buying Russian oil. Elsewhere, the rupee gained slightly to 88.10, with strategists saying that the currency remains very vulnerable to all of the news flow around trade talks. Coming to stocks, and the Nifty fell 96 points to 25,327, with the India VIX settling flat. Mid-caps and small-caps rose slightly. 5 of the 12 NSE sectors fell, with private banks and financial services sliding 0.6% each. PSU banks were the best performers on the day, gaining 1.3%. NSE 500 breadth was evenly balanced for a second day. Adani Enterprises was the top gainer as it rose 5.1% on news that the market regulator had dismissed some claims raised by Hindenburg Research, while HCL Technologies was the top loser, suffering a 1.8% drop on the day. Coming to the Nifty, the benchmark closed below Thursday's hanging man low, and that makes the pattern's high of 25,449 a key marker on the upside. On the downside, 25,154 is vital support. Elsewhere, provisional data showed that foreigners invested 390 crores on Friday. The month-to-date outflow is around 10,600 crores. On to derivatives now, and the Nifty's put-call ratio went from 1.16 to 0.94, while the Bank Nifty's went to 1.03 from 1.1. Nifty call addition was significantly more than the puts that were added, and implied volatility rose 30 basis points, which means at the close of trading on Friday, people had turned optimistic. For options set to expire tomorrow, resistance lies in the 25,400 to 500 area, while support lies between 25,200 and 300. Meanwhile, 1% out of the money put volatility dropped, while similar distance call volatility rose, which means volatility traders also turned confident. Please note, however, that this was the market's positioning before President Trump's announcement on H-1B visas, so the day's open is certain to see some readjustment to these bets. Meanwhile, foreigners and retail investors were bullish, while prop traders were bearish. Elsewhere, foreigners' net shorts and index futures rose by 3,000 contracts to 147,000 contracts. Looking forward to the day, the GIFT Nifty was down 111 points at 7 a.m. Asian markets were mostly higher, led by gains in Japan. US index futures were down. Speaking stocks, Tata Motors and Mastech Technologies were at horizontal support, while IRFC, REC and SBI Card were at horizontal resistance. eClerx, JP Power and Titan were at trendline support, while IDBI, Jio Financial Services and Oil India were at trendline resistance. Talking NSE 500 breadth, 65%, 64% and 70% of stocks were above their 50, 100 and 200-day moving averages. No major economic release is due from India or the US. That wraps up the day's podcast. Please note that this podcast serves solely for informational purposes and should not be considered financial advice. For a comprehensive disclaimer, please visit our website. Thank you, and we will see you tomorrow at the same hour. Have a nice day.
Investments in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.